for anyone who doesn't follow what's happening in the power space, the vast majority of new capacity additions, whether you look at the US or globally, is wind and solar, but primarily solar. Battery storage is just taking off as well. And so if you look at the data, you know, the market is sending a pretty clear signal in terms of, here are the types of things that are getting added. And I find, some folks may tend to push back and say, well, that's irrational, but we we installed globally 600 gigawatts of solar last year. That's about half of the existing capacity for all power plants in the US.
Yeah.
These are staggering numbers to think about. And despite even some of the recessionary headwinds and everything, the fundamental demand growth story for solar still appears to be intact. And part of it is because it's just the fastest thing that you can add to the grid. You need
Yeah.
an electron, you
Yeah.
want a cheap electron and you want it fast, you probably are going to do
Yeah.
solar. Gas and other things are great if you have existing gas power plants. As Vince always likes to point out, they're running at higher capacity factors. So I do think we're in this sort of interesting world right now where, solar and gas are more or less frenemies. They pair
Oh, yeah.
quite well together, and they will for some time.
Well, you know what some of our audience are thinking right now. Well, what are you going to do when the sun don't shine? Yeah, and in winter. I mean, it's the experience of having installed solar in my house was awesome. I understand it so well by having run it, and it's great on this time of year. March, April, May, when you're actually producing more than you use, and you get a little credit, and then you take that back in the summer when you're using air conditioning. But the storage, obviously, and to work that with to have it exist with natural gas. But the key thing is you use less and less than that natural gas every day. You got to have it for the backup, and every day that goes by, we can store more and more of that solar more efficiently and get more. And then there's, of course, but. That's the key thing that I think the previous administration just tilted a little too far one way. At least now I think, okay, it's just let's harness everything like they do in Texas and make sure it's cost effective and safe. I mean, there's such thing as burning coal safely. Not a big fan. Certainly our boss isn't, but there's ways to do it. But it's harnessing that energy. And I always like to say when there's so many people so fond, I love renewables,